Hey everybody, how you doing? I am in Boston right now. It's my little child, my son's second oldest son's Parents' Day weekend. So we're here hanging out, checking out some things. Um, got to see Boston University hockey last night. That was pretty cool. Anyway, so I am going to try to do, and I'm going to do the lecture from this room. I actually don't have a lot of new to introduce in terms of material. Just we're going to actually talk about something that actually is required of this course, is to do a major assignment. And right now we begin with the major assignment preparation. But just so you know, just to kind of like give a gift to anybody who actually watches the whole lecture, and I don't mean that to be a smart ass, I'm just saying, I'm going to give away some hints, big hints on the Megalomania assignments. So stick around if you want, if you can, and you'll get them. Okay. So don't forget that is actually due on October 28th, which is well, right. I'm speaking to you on Sunday, so that will be you'll be getting this on Mondays. Wednesday, that's Thursday. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Let's talk about the major assignment, which will be due on December 13th. But something else will be due before then related to that. Okay, so let's share the screen here. All right, so if you check out the module section, you'll see that the major assignment preparation is actually aligned with your calendar here on Canvas. Okay. And so what does it say here? So the thing about this is that now we have dealt with the whole idea of like who, what, where, how, why, when in terms of like developing a story, but we haven't really dealt a lot with actually coming up with ideas, and that's what you're going to be doing here essentially, is that you're going to be coming up with your own idea for this assignment. Okay. Let me just actually read to you some of the description here. For this assignment, you'll write a description. Actually, I'm sorry. So the first thing you're actually going to do is, so the major assignment is due on December 13th, but first you have to come up with an idea, essentially a proposal, okay? And I'm not asking for anything big or official, just basically something that's just like one line or something like that. So anyway, just basically just giving me a brief description of what you plan to do, okay? And that will be due actually a week from Monday, okay? In other words, November 1st, okay? Just 1 or 2 lines on Microsoft Word sent to this, sent to the assignment entry that's now in Canvas. Okay, you should see that too. I'll show you that in a bit. Anyway, for this assignment, you will write a description of a proposed topic for the major assignment. The idea here is that reporters have to be self-managers, and you need to think of ideas on your own. Your description should state the topic of the story and why you think it'll be interesting to your readers. Okay, so maybe it's actually really a couple of sentences. Okay, here's what your description should focus on. Essentially, the ideas for the things that you need to understand and to keep in mind when you're actually conceiving of a story idea. And essentially, again, it's almost like the who, what, where, how, why, when. First thing is when. Okay, is it timely? Is it, is it something that be connected to essentially a news event that's impacting you and the people you care of? Okay, so obviously things like trending events, that sort of thing, and basically, as we've written about things like COVID and stuff like that, that continues to be a story. So maybe, you could think of an idea related to COVID, okay? And maybe something along the lines of, but I mean, there've been tons of stories written about COVID, but what can be unique about that? Maybe, and one thing you're gonna note here is it says, something that's manageable, no major investigations, please, and keep it simple. So again, I want you to do something, be able to do something you can do within a few weeks or really close to a month, okay? Or actually is a month. And that is essentially, maybe something that deals with some sort of unique issue about it, maybe it's something involving other students, people within your particular circle of people, your friends, that sort of thing. That's how I want you to think about this story, is something that necessarily wouldn't be about, the whole COVID situation in general, but something unique and specific about it. Something that maybe, again, think of like when is something that, again, is timely. Maybe it involves something involving like vaccines or something like that. Maybe like, we just did a story about getting reaction to vaccines, but maybe there's like some other story that can branch off of that. Maybe people's reactions to vaccines, the actual vaccine itself. Maybe there's something along the lines of like, I don't want to give way too much here, but maybe something involving the booster. Just try to carve out something like unique and really specific in terms of an idea related to maybe some issue. It doesn't have to be COVID. Maybe it could be something involving, if you actually are on campus, it could be something involving something that's happening actually on campus. That, a lot of times actually the best stories are generated, and I hate to say it, by people complaining about something. And it's interesting when you think about it. I mean, a lot of people who complain about news and how it's always like negative sort of thing. Well, to be honest with you, when things are going good, certainly you should write about that, report about that. But there's really never really a big reason for people to complain or like find out why or get to the root of cause of a problem if if it's actually something that's good that's happening to them. So there's no reason for them to complain to a news organization or to let other people know about it, that sort of thing. So there's nothing wrong with writing about people complaining about things. I mean, it helps solve problems and stuff like that. So, maybe there's something happening on campus. Maybe there's something involving Rutgers and, again, connected to COVID or something like that. The mask policy, going back in person, maybe, I know that I'm already been told what class I'll be teaching in the spring. I may be teaching media ethics actually on top of a couple other ones, including digital reporting. But, we're actually getting some signal already that they're going to be loosening things up a little bit. One thing they'll be doing is they're actually going to be having earlier classes again. So I guess the class schedule is going to be more compressed as it used to be, not as spread out as it is now. So there might be like something involving, again, like people anticipating like what might be happening next semester. But what I really, really strongly recommend is that again, no major investigations, nothing really that would require, I always tell people, look, it'd be great if you could really impress me, and I will grade. I will definitely assess an assignment or performance based on the difficulty of it. And one thing I've always noticed, I've had people come to me before with ideas where they say like, I'm going to interview like professors about a certain subject. Now, interviewing professors is difficult because not all of them respond unless you have them as professors, unless you have them as your directly teaching you. But a lot of times they just don't respond. They don't call you back, they don't email you back, that sort of thing. So what I have actually done is I've actually given people credit because they've actually made the attempt and actually have succeeded at it, as opposed to maybe like interviewing students for a subject. Yes, I actually encourage people to, and it's actually a good idea when you're actually talking about doing stories about Rutgers, for instance, to actually interview people who live there because they're the people most affected by things that are going on there. So I would suggest whatever you're doing, probably first thinking about interviewing students, but just really think, I'm not trying to discourage people from doing something like interviewing people like at another level, like professors or bus drivers or something like that. Just know that that will come with some difficulty, okay? And to be honest with you, I try to keep a pretty low bar in terms of like the information you get. And I just really care, again, mostly if it's reported well and that, it's accurate, clear, and understand and focused, okay? So just keep that in mind, that I would really try to like, don't feel like you really got to like, jump in head first, in terms of like idea making here. Try to like think of something that you really can accomplish, okay? Because I know guys got other classes and other stuff like that too, and we're going to be having other assignments to do. Not many. I'm actually undecided right now whether to have one or two additional assignments on top of this one for the rest of the semester. So we are going to have other assignments to worry about, that sort of thing. So, okay. And then, once you submit these assignments or these ideas, I will actually let you know whether you can do it or not. I will basically essentially approve, rubber stamp. This is actually old-fashioned journalism. you come to the editor, and this is what you do actually, not when you're dealing with like a breaking news story, but when you're dealing with things like a project oriented story or something. Okay. And when you're actually doing some sort of a project oriented story, you're actually doing you're doing things that actually will, require, essentially, as opposed to approval on the fly when you hear about a fire burning or something like that, or a crime or something like that. You basically say, I'm going to do this, and then it's like understood, you go do it. But when you're actually doing stories that actually, they call these writing to be read stories, longer stories that might actually involve a little more, a little more effort, and even though I want you to, do it, I want you to do a story that actually like will be a little bit more involved perhaps than like what we've been doing already. Try to think of a topic that you can really like dig into, like some of the ones I just mentioned, because it is going to be a longer story too. Okay, so that is the one thing that it's, you're actually thinking about the ideas for the story. Think about like, one also that will require actually some more reporting, maybe some additional people to interview. So anyway, so you want to actually like try to get approval ahead of time for this so that you actually can work on it and have the time to do it. Okay. So again, now this is actually the assignment proposal entry listing right here. For this assignment, you'll write a description of a proposed topic for a major assignment. Again, keep it actually to 2 or 3 sentences. The idea is that reporters be self-managers. Again, this is, what I showed you before was on the module. This actually shows the assignment entry. Again, what's timely, something that's manageable, no major investigation, something that incorporates what we've talked about this semester, something that shows impact while also being relatable. Okay. Remember that the idea must be timely and newsworthy, given that you will not begin researching a topic until it has been approved. We will select a topic within a week, and and then we will actually like focus on essentially developing that assignment, so you're actually able to actually write it. Okay. And like once your topic is approved, you get begin reporting. So the description is actually due again on November 1st. What would the lead possibly is? Essentially, that'd be like maybe a suggestion for actually how you might want to provide the idea for this assignment. Okay. And again, the difference here again is, actually, I might be like confusing things a little bit here. I'm not asking you to do, again, if you want to like do something like an interview people who are hard to get a hold of, great and everything, but I'm not asking you to do an assignment that, in terms of the idea, I'm not asking you to do something that's actually more complicated than what we've done already. But what I am asking you to do is maybe to interview more people. That's the difference. Okay. And because it's going to be a longer story, 800 to 1100 words, essentially double what we typically do. So there's actually no rewrite on this. Okay. But what I do recommend is you submit me a rough draft ahead of time. Okay. Like in those kind of like week or two before they actually do. All right. It's recommended, but not mandatory. Okay. And then what we'll do is actually, once you actually submit the ideas to me next week, I will actually follow it up and go over them. Maybe, within 2 weeks, I'll give you an idea of like how these stories can be approached. I'll do that via email, one-on-one in email if you want. Once when I send you feedback, but I'll also do something general actually during probably the 2 lectures from now. So, because the next lecture actually I'm going to actually talk about another new assignment. Okay, so and then the final assignment will be done via Canvas. There will be an assignment entry for it. Okay, so again, not necessarily a more complicated idea than what we've done in the past, but a story that would require interviewing more people, maybe the same people. Maybe there's all students. Suppose like the big difference may be like instead of interviewing like 3 to 5 students, you interview like 8 to 10. Okay, so just something longer, more readable, that sort of thing. Okay. All right. So that's that with that. I actually don't have any reading to go over this week because it really doesn't actually relate to this. I'll have reading that go over next week that deals with next week I'll be talking about the next assignment that'll be assigned, and that'll be essentially a feature assignment. Okay, so you'll notice there's actually a chapter, I guess chapter 12 is actually assigned for you to read. Okay, it deals with that, and then I actually have some other materials you can look at for that assignment, but that'll be again next week. Okay, all right, so so if you stuck around this long, hopefully you will be able to get information on the megalomania, and I'm not going to give away some big hints here. Okay, so anyway, here's the assignment. Again, it's due. You're going to pretend like I said, this is like breaking news on the day you actually will likely submit it, which is actually Thursday. So anyway, here's the thing. So one thing you should keep in mind about this is, again, is like, how does the average reader really care about this? I mean, some of the stuff I've said already. And when you really think about it, like, again, like almost like try to again, like substitute the word like Disney or something like in here. Okay. Like some company you really recognize, and like, think about like, obviously people who are in business and they invest and that sort of thing, they're going to care about like what the company's reputation, that sort of thing. But it also again matters like how the customers feel about it. Are they actually like, I'll actually go through people's heads like, oh my God, am I really giving money to this company when, they're doing these things? I mean, do I really want to like make it look like I actually support them in any way? Can I really look at myself in the mirror? Can I go to sleep at night? I mean, yeah, people have these real thoughts, and to be honest with you, I think actually, and some of you not everybody has submitted this to me, but I've actually asked people to say, hey, bounce this off me what you think the lead is. But to me, it's like more than obvious down here. It's down here. Resignation of Marv Bronson, co-founder of Megalomania. Okay. The board actions were taken after internal investigation and consultation with external counsel, that they were inconsistent with the code of conduct. So something bad happened. Okay. So they try to like basically spin it in a way that it makes it look like they're doing something wonderful and improving the company and the brand, the whole thing. But something actually happened that basically hurt the brand. Okay. And it's like right here. Okay. And then the next paragraph goes into that a bit. The board concluded the facts reflected poorly on Mr. Bronson's judgment and undermined his credibility within the company and to the investing public. Okay. His resignation was not related to issues of performance in the company. Okay. Yeah, right. So anyway, all right. So, something bad happens. So that's what actually really requires you. And some of you asked me, like, that deadline was for contacting Bill Borden was actually for the first time to contact Bill Borden, but I see that not everybody's done that. So yes, you can still contact Bill Borden. He's going to play essentially the spokesperson for the company. It's all role playing. It's all made up. We're doing here, okay. But he's going to basically you're going to contact him because you want to know what happened here. That's the first question. What led Bronson to leave? Okay. And by the way, here's another big hint. I see this a lot in this assignment. People will write this in the first paragraph of the lead. They'll write that Mr. Bronson was asked to resign after he violated the code of conduct. Okay. Well, that's not the whole story. What did he do? He actually resigned. You got to think about the biggest, newest thing, right? So it's, yeah, sure, he was asked to resign, but then he actually resigned. So that's the big thing. That's actually what changes the whole company. When you have somebody who's essentially a co-founder of a big company and they leave, that's actually like a big story, and it could change the whole culture of the company. We've seen this happen in recent years in the Me Too era. I mean, it's something that basically, hopefully, will change the culture of the company, especially when we deal with people who are mistreating people and that sort of thing. Of course, we didn't always see that at Fox News, but people continue to have problems there. But from what I understand, but anyway, basically when you actually change the top, they say the fish rots it from the head down. So that's what's perhaps happened here. So what you need to do is basically say that essentially Bronson resigned, and then why. Okay, and then the thing is, though, I write this on a lot of papers basically, and that this is not your ordinary resignation story. Okay, this is a story. See, and we can write about those stories all the time too, and that would still be a story. But this actually goes beyond that. And this actually goes back to that remember that Easter Bunny thing that we talked about on the on the worksheets, and how I was saying, look, just don't think of this as attempted murder. Think about like what was the motive, and that was what makes this story more unique. Well, the same thing here. He just didn't quit. He quit because he was forced out, and he was forced out for reasons that were peculiar and weird and unique. So you need to actually like grind out a little bit to get more information here, and that's where you go to Bill. Now, Bill's, like I said, he's going to throw you off a little bit because he's not just going to like say to you, oh yeah, this happened and blah blah blah. He's actually going to play the role of what a spokesman would typically do. Actually, this goes back to what I was saying about the major assignment and basically trying to interview people who can be difficult. Bill's going to play the role of a difficult spokesperson. Yes. So the first thing he's going to do is he's actually going to send you this. Okay. This is a company voucher. And it is going to have some pretty extraordinary expenses on here. And what happened was that Mark Bronson threw a party for his wife's 40th birthday. Yay. Hey. And spent a ton of dough on it. $3 million. Okay. And what he tried to do is, and this actually gets confused a lot too, is that he tried to get the company to pay for it. All right. This again was based on an actual thing that actually happened. Didn't quite happen in this way, but it happened. It's close to happen. Okay. And so by trying to build a company, that was bad enough. The company said, no, that's not good. You're trying to do something really bad here. And look at what you did. Look at this crap you spent on. Okay. Chocolate fountains. This is actually important detail. Actually, this should be like within the first 4 or 5 paragraphs of your story, maybe 5 or 6. Okay. The shit he spent, he spent money on Justin Bieber, 3 songs, grape peelers at a party. Yes, I know this is gross. It's actually stuff that actually happened. Okay. Just a different person. Okay. All this money on this, maybe like just basically identifying and listing a few of these items. This really should be in your story and up high. You don't have to list every single thing, but maybe some of the most extraordinary things. Okay. Because again, this is what separates this from your ordinary resignation story. I'll just say that over and over again, and you'll see it. If I see it on papers, I'll say it again, and I'll probably say things like, did you see my video? Because I talked all about it. So when you get this, how do you attribute this? Well, you attribute this by basically saying this. Actually, I'll call it this. It's not a person, because you don't all the time get information from a person. You get it maybe from a document. So you say, according to a voucher, that's maybe the first way you identify it, according to a voucher provided by the company, okay, or a document, okay. And then like when you quote it again, you say according to the voucher or the document, okay. All right. Then you're gonna want to go to him again. You want to go to Bill again. You're going to want to say like, wow, that's pretty extraordinary. And maybe try and give me some more information here. Is this really this? Maybe one of the questions you asked, is this really the stuff that really kind of, because you gave me a voucher. Is this really what you're trying to tell me? This is what was behind the violation of code of conduct, what's going to happen to Bronson? Is he going to be arrested? Is he going to, is there something that's going to, basically happen to him that that's worse than resignation, or maybe he actually has to pay something and maybe pay fines or something. I don't know. So try to really think like outside the box. Think of like maybe come up with a list of questions to ask, maybe 5 or 6 just additional questions. You should be able to get more information out of that. By the way, Bill likes to play a little of a game. He might actually say, oh well, by the way, I'm off the record. He might say like, which by the way, he might say that he doesn't want his name used or something like that. Use his name, please. Sometimes Bill and I don't communicate well on that. So just use his name, okay? And if he asks about it, just say that I've said it was okay, okay? Sometimes Bill and I forget to actually communicate on that. And basically, I think I don't want to make it too difficult, because we don't really get into the weeds here in terms of, we do talk about what's off the record and what's on the record and that sort of thing in this class a little bit. And just so you know, again, that on the record essentially may say that as anything you can use, okay? I talked about this in a previous lecture. All right, when without attribution or background, that's basically use it without a name, okay? But we really just want to use what's on the record here with a name, okay? All right. So that's what you do once you get this voucher. You come back to him and you ask him those additional questions, okay? All right, so that's it with that. And let's see here, stop share. So anyway, let me know if you have any additional questions. And as far as the vaccine stories are concerned, I hope to really have those done by the time this megalomania assignment is finished, okay? And I'm sorry, it's just taking a while for me to get that back to you, okay? So let me see how that goes. And if there's any change, anything, I'll communicate with you. All right, thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate it. And then let me know how everything goes, okay? Bye-bye.